Well, this is a dream come true. It's a 3-day holiday, and we've got almost a full house. Not for yourselves. And I realize that some of you are here because I traveled a little bit. And I called you and I said, it's a 3-day weekend, I want to groan.
A little?
Oh.
You groveled a little?
But thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Well, what a beautiful day. We're blessed to be here in this atmosphere of love. Ushering in the very, and I need to qualify that, the very, very empowering theme, affirmation. And Angela thought about that this morning, and I thought, what is affirmation? It's our constant and continuous idea and tendency to say yes to our experience, to our life experience. That's how we say yes to the experience, and it's through affirmation. And we do this, and this affirmation by thought, and by word, and by deed and action. And it's a request to the field of all possibilities, of the energy field of intention, that this is what I desire. And you do it, sometimes you do it subconsciously, you don't even know you're doing it. And I see it a lot as a pastor when people come in and say, I'm depressed, I'm lonely, I'm in lack. Those are affirmations that is telling the dimension of infinite possibilities. This is what I want to experience in my life. Would you agree with that? Those of you who've been here for a while, you should. So it's what we think, what we feel, what we say, and it's how we feel particularly. It's our emotion. And we look at the word emotion, it's our movement and energy. That's what an emotion is, a movement and energy. It's how we communicate to this source of all there is. To some of you refer to it as God. I refer to it today as our source energy that provides us what our desires are. And we've all heard firsthand the statement that we need to be careful what we wish for, we may get it. Have you heard that before? Of course, everybody has. And you need to be careful what you wish for, you may get it. Well, this month we go a step further. And we qualify that and we say we need to be careful what we think, feel, and act, because we will experience it. It is a given. And so years ago, I was in a place called Old Shasta. How many of you ever seen Old Shasta? It's by Reading, it's west of Reading. It's a beautiful place. And I hate to admit it, but it was 3 miles from Whiskeytown Lake. But it was a beautiful, beautiful lake. And I had this friend, we'll call him Bill, who always affirmed before he'd go on vacation with his wife Mary. He'd say, you know, every time we plan a vacation, something bad happens while we're gone. Now that's our request of Spirit. It's a covenant. And Spirit always says what? What does the Spirit always say?
Yes.
Yes. And I'll be darned, just magically it happened every time. One day they were gone, and the pipe breaks, and they flood their basement. My God. And then another time they were gone, and of course they were affirming, you know, this is going to happen. Spirit, please make something bad happen so we can experience pain and suffering. So anyway, the next time it happened, somebody broke in their place, stole their jewelry and everything else. But the mother of all responses from Spirit was affected Angela, and I won't tell you the full story because it would take 3 hours. But what happened was how many of you have been through a firestorm? A firestorm came up. They're on their way to Palm Springs. They're out of the problem. And the firestorm's heading towards their house. So we get the call at Old Shasta. I had a cabin at the time. And we get a call that we need to evacuate. I'm looking around the cabin. Have you ever done this? I have to leave. I got to take the important stuff. I've got a '68 Volkswagen, for God's sakes. And, you know, everything's important. Nothing's going to fit in this car. So I get in the car with my dog, Sugar. And we head towards Bill's house to see if we can do anything at all to save it. Now, what happened after that is another story. It was fun, it worked out all right, and there's a lot of stuff going on that one, which I won't talk about today. Anyway, spirit leaders and teachers tell us that we actually create our own personal laws. Would you agree with that? We create our own personal laws. And we do this by how we act, We create those personal logs of how we affirm what's going on. For example, if I'm confronted by a friend and I'm talked to very negatively, and I bring fear and doubt and I'm upset, what am I doing? I'm affirming the fact that this is a really cool thing, that Angela wants to experience more of this. And so what we're telling Spirit is, hey, Angela loves being fearful or being upset or having a friend say bad things to him. Therefore, let's give him more of it. And our affirmation is, yes, let's give her more. Let's give him more. You know, two presidents, President Kennedy and President Roosevelt, nailed it down really great. And what they said was, there's nothing to what? Fear, but fear itself. That's what they're talking about. It's a new thought concept that the presidents of the United States came up with. There's an awesome book, and I don't know if we have any left in the library, by Michael Singer. It's called, and I'm talking fast because there's stuff I want to cover. Am I talking too fast? And I'm too damn loud.
You're not too loud, no. You're sure fast. My brain doesn't, I can't hear that fast.
But there's a book in the bookstore, or we had some in the bookstore, by a man called Michael Singer, called The Untethered Soul. How many of you read that? What an awesome book. Well, anyway, Michael tells us the antidote, tells us how to deal with, how to mitigate situations that bring fear and distress and doubt into our lives. And he indicates it in the book. And I read it and I thought, boy, this sounds good. You know, it's good. You start practicing it, actually. But what he says was, when these things happen and you're confronted by these people, and I call it spur-of-the-moment tantrums. You know, we have that happening to us occasionally when people don't like what we're doing. But anyway, do not participate in the struggle. Isn't that interesting? He says, don't participate. Don't be part of the drama. You don't have to be. Somebody's in your face yelling at you. Why do you have to participate? I always say, don't go to war with somebody who's unarmed. But anyway, don't use that. It really ticks people off. Somebody got it. He said that things that happen in the moment belong to the moment. They don't belong to you, Angelo. So release it. And he also says things like, if they don't have anything to do with you, release it, let it go. Don't personalize it. Don't define yourself in relationship to what's happening. Does this make sense? It's pretty awesome. And it's something we can practice day in and day out. And the main thing is, don't allow, and I try not to have this happen, when you're out here on the firing line sometimes, and we all are, we experience these kinds of things, don't we? And that's what we're here for. We're supposed to experiencing all of that, and then learn how to deal with it, not kowtow toward or have it absorb us in consciousness. We don't have to become that. All we do is do what Michael Singer said. Release it, let it go, and don't own it. And anyway, this is why as a minister and as an individual, I preach this day in and day out. I practice it, and I tell folks this. You know, we have dominion over our life experiences. That's what we are. We're the commander of this day. Angela, you're the commander of this day. How do you want to experience it? I talk to myself like that every morning. And then you've heard this before. I'm going to do it again until the day I leave this planet. That we can affirm what we want to experience in the given day. We don't have to be victims to the day. We can take command of the day. And so what I do, and some of you know this already because you're practicing it, I'm grateful for this day and the love and abundance that comes my way. This works. And I'll practice this and preach about it until the day I leave this area, this world called the planet Earth. Okay. To me, what does it do for us? I think when we put our consciousness into that which we are, love and abundance, that's what we are. And when we put our energy on it and we state it at the beginning of the day, what happens is when these things happen to us, and we're always confronted with different things. That's why we're here for. We're here to enjoy the whole enchilada of the human life, are we? And we don't call it good or bad. With everything, But what I love about this affirmation is the fact that we have it be the underlying power and presence when somebody's in my face, or if I screwed up, and we all screw up, and we did something wrong, and we want to have fear into our life and all that stuff, and doubt and gloom. We can know that underlining all this, I'm grateful for this day and the love and harmony that's on its way. I'll tell you, it works. And it's the underlying thing. And so we transcend what's happening. We are powerful, and we become commanders of our life experiences. Masters and spiritual teachers tell us that we are very powerful, creative beings, that through affirmation we can do whatever we desire to do and experience whatever we desire to experience. And what they say is this, and I'm putting this out here today as a metaphor, and I've got a friend here today that I'm going to use as that metaphor. Whatever we vividly imagine, strongly desire, and firmly believe. Now, let's sink this in. Whatever we I'm like you, Maggie. I forgot the fifth one. No. Whatever we vividly imagine, firmly desire, and strongly believe must come to pass. Now, Angela thought about that this morning, and I'll tell you something further about it, because there's a piece there that I want to explain later on, and I'm going to Pizelo-ize it. But anyway, the master said that this is cool. We have with us someone, my friend Max Stauffer. Stand up, Max.
Hey, man.
That's Max Stauffer. Max Stauffer is the owner of the Sugar Pine Railway. He's been my friend for 25 years. He was actually the president of the school board when I was the superintendent locally. And he went through some stuff they shared with me. But what he did, he exemplified what I just said about that. Whatever you do, what, can you remember that? Vividly imagine, strongly desire, and firmly must come to pass. Max comes to me about a few weeks ago and he says, Angelo, and we were both weeping at that time. Right now I'm being able to do it without crying, Max. Isn't that cool? He says, Angelo, the oncologist told me that I have bladder cancer, and it's in a part of my bladder that can't be removed surgically without removing the entire bladder. And so Max was open and receptive to the New Thought philosophy. And he subjected himself to some heavy-duty training and work that he had to do, and he did that. He learned affirmations, he did his homework with visualization, he meditated, he learned about intention, and he went to a retreat for about 3 or 4 weeks. And meanwhile, here's the PLC group, you folks. On the platform, we said we need to treat for Max Stauffer. And so didn't we prayed for this guy. We visualized the fact that Max's body may have a problem, but Max, as spiritual being, is eternal. He cannot have any problems. Spirit is pure, whole, and complete always. And so we recognize that Max is a spiritual being without a problem. He can't have a problem. And therefore, this thing that's happening in the physical will go away. We will take care of that. Maggie, in the meantime, is on her way to India. 28-day retreat. And she takes with her a package of pictures. And in that is Max's picture. And she's there 28 days doing her thing, becoming awakened. But anyway, she sat in the front row because she said it's my age. There were 200 people there and they put me in the front row because of my age. Well, anyway, she's in the front row and she's observing this master, the spiritual master, Avatar Bhagavan. Avatar, here's this guy, and she's in tears in the front seat. He's laying hands on those pictures. And we say, my gosh, talk about an affirmation. I mean, that's pretty cool. And here we are in Oakhurst. She's in India. And anyway, she came back and she says, Angelo, let me know if anything different happened with any of our